Hi, I'm Leslie Kale Villarreal in my studio and exploring further uses with my rolling mill. I am turning to making my own silver scrap. This is the first day I've tried it, but I've been online with a lot of people on Facebook and some other jewelry making friends, and they said, get a crucible, melt your silver into your crucible and pour it into an ingot mold. Well, I got the ingot mold, but I didn't get the crucible yet. And then I've also heard about using a charcoal block. So I thought, I'm really big on just using the tools at hand and not trying to buy more. In the beginning, when we become silversmiths or metalsmiths, we're just tool hoarders. All we want to do is buy tools because we think it's going to make our life easier. But I'm kind of going the other way. I guess I'm regressing. Less is more. So maybe it's because I'm not very wealthy these days. I need to sell some more jewelry. But anyway, getting by with what I have on hand. So that's what this video is about. We're going to be making ingots from silver scrap in just 5 minutes. So I use one of these charcoal blocks. These are the kind of charcoal blocks that are long-lasting charcoal blocks. They're not the kind that fall apart real easy. This one I've had for a good 6 months. Anyway, so today I took just a simple round file and I went sideways and I just divoted out this little hole in there, and I laid some silver scrap inside and I torched it and I melted it, and I'm going to show you a little video of that. I had to do that on a handheld camera. I'm not sure how well that video is, but we're going to pop it up here for you in a second. You'll get the idea though. Anyway, what I got were these nice little silver bars. They came out pretty awesome. Not so much different from what you would get if you used an ingot mold. So these all weigh exactly 6 ounces. I've weighed them on my little scale here. So about 1/2 of an ounce, a little over 1/2 of an ounce. And just to give you a really good look at them here, I'm going to try to zoom in. Hopefully you can see that. And they're not exactly uniform. They're pretty good though. This one has a few more crustaceans on it, I guess, or deformities, pits. And this one is actually kind of weird. It's really big. It's actually 8 ounces, almost a full ounce. But what happens, like I made 4 of them, and just under, a few minutes. Took about 2 minutes each to make. But after the 4th one, my charcoal block, see the 4th one, that's this big one on the end that turned out to be 8 ounces, and it's a little bit less uniform. My charcoal block started to give up a little bit. You see how I'm getting some burn holes in the side. So I'm not getting as uniform as a piece. Hence the reason for an ingot mold. But if you don't have one, do I have charcoal on my face? Ooh, I may. Anyway, so the reason for doing this though, again, is it's just what we have on hand. And I could make several more and use this block several more times. I don't know how much silver you want to melt in one day. I also use a little torch, and my little torch has a rosebud tip on it for this purpose. This is what the tip looks like. You can buy them online on Amazon or a welding store or whatever. But this sucker gets hot. It's good for enameling as well. This is such an awesome little torch, and I just use an oxypropane setup, so I don't have to worry about the dirt from the acetylene tank. So anyway, yeah, it worked pretty good. So I'm gonna now flip over and try to show you my little handheld video briefly on how to melt your scrap. Now I started out with just a little bit of scrap. It's about a handful. So, and I didn't even dent this. I just used a little bit, so I still have quite a bit of scrap left. So now let's go over and show you the process. I should have a better camera for this, but I just wanted to show you, and I didn't have time to do the other setup. So it's kind of how I'm doing it here. So save all your little scraps, everyone, because there's no sense in sending them to the refiner when you can do this on your own. Looking for some juicy pieces. Okay, that's a good start. So now I'm going to light up my torch. Today I'll be using hot flame action with that rosebud tip. This is my Smith little torch, oxypropane setup. Very simple and pretty compact. And I dig it. Alright, so let's heat up some silver, shall we? Alright. Okay, so I've got a nice hot tip here on my flame. And let's see how many minutes it takes us to heat up this and turn it into an ingot. My guess is 2 to 3 minutes. But this is the first time we were doing this today, so we do not know. In order to turn this into into a sheet of silver, you're going to need a rolling machine. But this is just an idea. I wanted to melt some scrap because I don't have a crucible just yet. I did order one, but it hasn't come. And everybody had been telling me to just try this method. Just take your charcoal block and make a groove in it and melt your scrap. And away you go. So that's what I'm doing. Let's see how we're doing on this side. These rosebud tips get very, 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 very hot, and they're great for enameling as well with your oxypropane Little Smith torch if you happen to. I'm sure acetylene would be even better, but although acetylene gets pretty dirty, so it might not be better for this task. Oxypropane is a much cleaner type of gas, though acetylene does just get so nice and hot so fast. So hot, so fast. You can see it's kind of just all flowing right there into the ingot. And you remember wherever your flame goes, that's where the heat kind of tends to gravitate towards. So I've got kind of a lump here. I'm going to try to pull this down to the end by moving my heat source down here. See if I can get that to flow a little bit. There we go. So we are at 1 minute 48 seconds so far. And melting our little silver ingot. Very old school. I like old school. You know, the more I try things without a bunch of fancy tools, the more I like silversmithing. There we go. It's starting to look pretty good. Pretty uniform. Not too much of a fuel waster. We did pretty good here. Okay. So we did 1 minute and 4 seconds. I'm going to turn off my torch. And we're going to let that, definitely want to let that cool until, whoops, a little pop there because I didn't turn off my oxy first. But anyway, we're going to let this cool. And we should have a pretty nice ingot when we're done. And then after it's cool, not before, I'm going to quench it. I don't want to cause pits in my silver by quenching it a little bit too fast. So that looks like it was pretty. Oh, there, yeah, just about out of here. Okay, let's get it out of this charcoal block so we can pull a little quicker. There we go. I don't know if you can see that little red ingot there. Let me hold it up for you, maybe a little bit. I'm sorry for this jittery camera, but there you go. So this will be quenched, pickled, and rolled in the mill to make something pretty. Hope you enjoyed that quick tutorial. Okay, so that's it. That's all there is to it. In under a few minutes, we made 4 ingots, and we got about 2 ounces of silver here between those 4. So get your torch and a charcoal block and make your own silver scrap. You can do it. You can just melt it all up, and you don't have to go to the refinery, and you got your silver right there. You don't have to pay shipping fees, and you've saved some money, and you did it old school. So I hope you liked my video, and we've got plenty more on my YouTube channel, Leslie Villarreal. So subscribe and you'll get all the new cool stuff as it comes your way.